Part 99. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei-Shi Niang. Chapter 981. Song Chunming thought for a while and dialed the number from yesterday. A clear female voice rang, "Hello, Hangzhou Zhonghui Financial Development Co., Limited. Hello, please help me." Song Chunming said after thinking about it, "Please help me pick up your boss." "Okay, which boss are you looking for?" Song Chunming looked at yesterday's formation and felt that the white shirt should be the biggest boss of their company, so he said on the phone, "Big boss, your biggest boss." "Mr. Qin, right." The mahjong-faced one's surname is Fang, and the baby-faced one's surname is Huang. The one surnamed Qin must be in white shirt. Song Chunming quickly said, "Yes, that's your Mr. Qin." "Okay, wait a moment." After the phone beeped a few times, the next ringing sound was indeed the voice in a white shirt. "Hello, who are you?" "President Qin, I am Song Chunming." "Oh, hello, Mr. Song. Is there anything else you can do?" "No, Mr. Qin, I called just to thank you. Thank you for helping me unblock the sales department. Mr. Song, sell your house well. You don't need to make this call. Thank you. Not to mention, we are not here to help you, but to set rules. Establish rules. Yes, the sales department is not your sales department now, it is also our source of income. Think about it, if the construction company finds any excuse and closes the door every 3 days, how can we guarantee our income? It must be let him know who is in charge of what happens on the construction site. Well, that's it. Goodbye, Mr. Song." The white shirt said and hung up the phone. Song Chunming sat there and thought about it. What Mr. Qin said was really right. This sales department now belongs to more than just himself. The houses sold and the rent recovered must be guaranteed to Mr. Qin every month. Their interest. I am now a farmer. What I grow on the ground must first be paid in full to the public ration, and what is left over is my own ration. Song Chunming smiled bitterly and shook his head. Song Chunming's big brother rang, and he picked up. It was the office director. The director asked, "Mr. Song, where are you?" "I'm in the sales department, what's wrong?" Song Chunming asked. The director lowered his voice and said to Song Chunming, "You'd better come back quickly. The bank's people are here. If you don't come back, something will happen." Song Chunming said, "Okay, I'll be right back." The director said, "Yes, then I will find a way to hold them back. They just saw that you were not here and were ready to leave." Putting down the phone, Song Chunming scolded, You, what will happen to the bank? Who are you scaring? Just leave when you leave, and you will be quiet after you leave. This director is so damn troublesome." However, he still decided to go back. Song Chunming walked outside the sales department and saw Boss Yang and the others had also cleaned up and were about to evacuate. Seeing Song Chunming coming out, Boss Yang snorted and cursed. "Song, don't be proud. You are getting into trouble. If you get involved with them, you are dead. I have seen these people too many times. No one who has anything to do with them will end well." Song Chunming felt a chill in his heart. He remembered the scene of mahjong leaving the place in front of him, staring straight ahead. He knew that he was walking towards them, but without even looking at him, he immediately started the car and left. Song Chunming understood in his heart that when people came to teach Boss Yang a lesson, they were not trying to scare the monkeys. Boss Yang hadn't owed them any money yet, so he was so frightened that if he didn't repay the money by then, it's easy to borrow our money. If you haven't paid it back yet, your life will be worse than death. Song Chunming remembered what Mahjong Face said yesterday. Song Chunming returned to the company and found that there were 3 people from the bank. One was the vice president, one was the head of the credit department, and the other was a loan officer. After everyone shook hands and sat down, Before Song Chunming could speak, the head of the credit department said, "Mr. Song, your loan interest payment last month was delayed for more than 10 days, and this month it has been delayed for almost 20 days. Our loan officers have been urging you every day to no avail. What's going on?" Song Chunming smiled awkwardly and said, "It's not that the general situation is bad and the house is difficult to sell, so the company has some financial difficulties. We understand the financial difficulties. Nowadays, many enterprises have financial difficulties," the section chief said, "but no matter how difficult it is for funds, you can't default on the loan interest. You don't understand this? What will happen to you if you do this? Credit history will be affected." The section chief didn't say that his credit record was good. Once he said that, Song Chunming became very angry. "If it weren't for you, I would have repaid this money and loaned out the other one. If I had 2 million more, with a little bit of punishment, would not be where we are today, let alone borrowing money from usury. Now you come here to tell me about your humming credit record. Who are you scaring? I can't get a loan from the bank anyway. A dead pig is not afraid of boiling water, so will you be afraid of another bad record from you?" Thinking like this, Song Chunming looked at them and smiled without saying anything. The vice president looked at him and frowned. The vice president said, "Mr. Song may not realize the seriousness of this matter. He thinks that he just defaults on the loan interest. If he owes it, he owes it. He may also think, anyway, I already owed it once last month and the record is no longer good. Mr. Song, do you want to break the jar?" "No, no, President, I definitely don't mean that," Song Chunming said quickly, a voice in his heart sneered, "I just broke the pot. Mr. Song, we are here today, and it is the last time we are here. Anyway, we are all old acquaintances, so let me explain. Originally, we didn't even come here," the vice president said. "Okay, President, tell me. Based on the current situation of your company, according to our bank's practice, it can be classified as a high-risk enterprise. It is not a matter of collecting interest, but it can directly collect the loan in advance. Moreover, I know that Mr. Song is here to ask you to repay the loan now. It will definitely not come out yet, there is no other way, we will definitely hand it over to the legal department of the branch, and the legal department of the branch will take action immediately and sue your company." The vice president paused and continued. "If that happens, all your company's accounts will definitely be sealed. We will ask for litigation preservation in the sales department, construction site, and office, and the court will post announcements. Think about it, the court announcements are posted on the doors of these places. Can your house still be sold? Even if it is sold, the customer has paid the money, and you can't move a penny. Unless there are such stupid customers who dare to buy after seeing the court announcement," the credit section chief added, "and again, all purchases are made in cash." Their words made Song Chunming sweat all over his body. The vice president continued, "President Song, we are not saying these things to scare you, we just want to remind you that we can do this and we must do it. If we don't do it and delay it, we will be derelict in our duties. I hope Song we can always understand that we have to do it as a last resort." Song Chunming said quickly, "No, no, President, we are all friends. I don't think you will put me to death like this." The vice president said angrily, "If you don't do this, Mr. Song, we will just kill ourselves. It's true that we are friends, but friends have their limits. I'll think of a way, President, I'll think of a way right away." Song Chunming can't say that he still has 100,000 in his account, otherwise people will think, "Damn you, you didn't pay the money even though you had the money. What do you mean, you just want to rely on the interest, right?" The man was still angry, so Song Chunming could only say, "Well, let me think of a way to pay the interest today, okay? I promise to pay it today. President, please help me." The vice president and the section chief looked at each other and stood up. The vice president said, "Okay, let's leave first and give you half a day. I hope you, Mr. Song, will keep your word." "It's true. By the way, it's already dinner time. Why don't we go for a walk?" "Let's have dinner together," Song Chunming said quickly. The vice president smiled and said, "President Song, do you think we still dare to eat from you now?" The section chief and the loan officer both laughed and shook their heads. Song Chunming smiled awkwardly. After sending the three people from the bank to the elevator, Song Chunming came back and hurried to the financial room and asked the financial officer, "How much is the bank interest?" 91,005, the finance officer said. "Hurry up and hand it over, otherwise something will happen." "Just use that 100,000. Otherwise," Song Chunming asked, "can you help me generate other money?" The finance manager smiled and said, "I don't have the ability or the function to let your wife give birth." Song Chunming shook his head and did not answer the question. How could he think about joking now? Song Chunming was about to leave the finance room when the office director came in and said to Song Chunming, "Just now, the boss Yang from the construction site called." "What kind of trouble is this bastard going to do again?" Song Chunming asked. He said, "Let us immediately pay the electricity bill owed by the sales department for half a year, otherwise he will start cutting off the power tomorrow," the director said. Their sales department's electricity is pulled from the construction site. There is a main meter from the city power grid to the construction site. They also installed a sub-meter. The monthly electricity bill should be handed over to the construction company first, and then the construction company is responsible for paying the electricity bills listed on the general meter, but Song Chunming and his sales department have not paid a penny of the electricity bill. When Song Chunming still had money, because everyone was friends and still had a cooperative relationship, it wasn't that they didn't pay, but that regardless of Song Chunming or Boss Yang, they simply forgot about the electricity bill. Later, Boss Yang asked Song Chunming for the project money, which was the bulk of the money. The electricity bill was not a big deal, so he didn't mention it. Now, everyone is at odds with each other. Boss Yang must want to take revenge on Song Chunming, but Song Chunming no longer owes him money, and he has no intention of taking any action. After Song Chunming left, Boss Yang saw two huge air conditioning units in the sales department, blowing hot air. He remembered, "This damn electricity is mine, so you can play with it again." Song Chunming. Asking for the electricity bill is a matter of course, and no one can get in the way. The cool breeze in the sales department comes at a cost. Song Chunming knew that with the current tense relationship between the two parties, this matter could not be avoided. He told the finance officer, "Pay it forward, pay it forward. Once this is paid, there will be no money left in the account," the finance manager said. "I'll pay even if I don't have any money." After Song Chunming finished speaking, he walked out. Song Chunming sat down in his office. He felt that he was like a sieve with a large mesh. The 7.6 million yuan was only kept on him for one night. Today, it all leaked out, and he felt relieved. At night, everything that follows is filled with sadness. He really regrets now that he only bought a game console for his son yesterday and did not buy the bag for his wife that she has always wanted. No matter what, today, he will still become a pauper and he will still be worried. At least you should also make your wife and son happy for a while. Song Chunming even regretted not taking the money to run away with his wife and son yesterday. Today, he no longer has the ability to run away. Thank you to Dal Tin Soldier and RIRI Shushu for the reward. Thank you for your monthly pass. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Niang. Chapter 982. Song Chunming was riding on the way to work, hanging the bag on the handlebar of his bicycle. The big brother rang loudly. Song Chunming got out of the car and had no time to park the bicycle, so he let it lean against his body and took out the bag. The elder brother picked up. Xiao Lu said on the phone, "Mr. Song, can you come over? There is a client who must see you." "Okay, I'll be right over." Song Chunming hung up the phone and quickly changed direction and rode towards the construction site. He felt happy in his heart. It looked like it wasn't that bad. The sales department was unblocked yesterday and a customer came today. This customer must be met. He probably wanted to go there by himself and ask for a discount, otherwise Xiao Lu wouldn't call him. Song Chunming decided that discounts are discounts, as long as you are willing to pay for a house. The more Song Chunming rode, the more relaxed he felt under his feet, and he soon reached the sales department. Song Chunming parked his bicycle and walked into the sales department excitedly. As a result, the customer waiting for him inside was not a customer who came to buy a house, but the customer who had bought a house a few days ago and wanted to come and return the house today. Room. After buying a house, he had been feeling very uneasy, wondering if he had made the wrong purchase. Every day when he had something to do, he would come here. When he saw that the sales department had also been blocked, he was shocked and asked some of the workers nearby told him that the construction site was over and the boss had fled, scaring him half to death. "I saw the sales department was open today, so I came in hurriedly and asked to check out." Xiao Lu said, "All the information has been submitted. Where can I refund it? Besides, buying a house is not about buying vegetables at the farmer's market. You are buying vegetables at the farmer's market. If you go to return it, they won't be willing to refund it to you. Checking out is a sure thing impossible. Our sales department was closed a few days ago. It's not that the boss ran away. The boss is still doing well in the company. It's our sales department. Did you see it? In the corner over there, a large piece of wall has fallen off. It needs to be rebuilt. Painting and decoration, take a look. Is it newer today than when you came a few days ago? The customer can't see what has been updated, let alone understand. Just decorate and close the door. Why build a wall with bricks?" However, he was finally persuaded by Xiao Lu not to check out, but he asked that he must see the boss. Only when he saw the boss would he believe that what Xiao Lu told him was the truth. Xiao Lu had no choice but to call Song Chunming. Xiao Lu asked for Song Chunming's ID card, pointed to the business license on the wall, and said to the customer, Look, is this our boss Song? I said he was fine. Is that true? Do you see it? As soon as I called him, he came over." The customer looked at Song Chunming's ID card, looked at Song Chunming himself, and then looked at the license on the wall to confirm that it was correct and agreed with Xiao Lu's words. After the guests left, Song Chunming pulled Xiao Lu aside and asked her, "How is it here now?" Xiao Lu shook his head and said, "No, from yesterday until now, including the previous one, only 5 people have come in, and 2 of them are still salesmen." Song Chunming felt heavy after listening to it, but he still comforted Xiao Lu that it was okay. The lockdown had just been lifted, so there would always be some impact. Besides, today was not Sunday. On Sunday, there would be more people. Xiao Lu smiled reluctantly, "I hope so." Next, the sales department was quiet all the time. Xiao Lu suggested layoffs, saying that the salary had just been paid and less than half a month's salary was still owed. He asked someone to wait for the notice to come and collect it. Fortunately, if you wait until you are owed 1 month or 2 months before laying off employees, they will not be able to get their wages, and there will definitely be trouble. The director also agreed with Xiao Lu's suggestion, so Song Chunming asked them to do it. In the entire sales department, including Lian Xiaolu, there were only 3 people left. After laying off the sales department, we then laid off more than 20 people in the company, until there were 8 left. These 8, except for the director and finance, were really out of necessity. The other people were laid off because they had no way to do so. Either they came in through Song Chunming's old colleagues or relatives, and Song Chunming still owed them money. The reason why they haven't asked Song Chunming to repay the money until now is because their own people are still working there and they know that Song Chunming's company has not closed down yet. If you lay them off, wouldn't that be courting death? Most of the people were laid off, the traffic was cut off, and there was no clue about open source. The various payments were like springs. They clicked in front and were pressed down a little. As time passed, they bounced back. The last thing was that what Song Chunming was worried about was the interest rates from Mr. Chin and the bank, as these two could kill them in minutes. To solve these two problems, at least 2 houses need to be sold, but now there is no sign of one. On the contrary, Song Chunming is not worried about those who threaten to go to the sales department to make trouble if they don't pay, so that they can't sell the house. You go ahead and make trouble. You must know that the sales department is not just my sales department now. Department. As this month is about to pass, fortunately, 2 people with mahjong faces, which is better said to be holding, went to their sales department and bought 2 apartments. Lu didn't even ask, so he asked Xiao Lu to choose 2 sets for them and paid. Mahjong Face took away 400,000 yuan, and what was left was enough for Song Chunming to pay the bank's interest. I don't know what the relationship between these 2 people is with Mr. Chin and Zhonghui Company. No matter what, Song Chunming just hopes that there will be more people like this, so that they can help him solve the problem. But such a good thing never happened again. Song Chunming tore through his address book and read the business cards in his business card box countless times. He once again confirmed that he could not borrow a penny. Song Chunming decided to accept his fate and let him go. What should be done? Everyone is destined to die, and it may be heavier than Mount Tai, or lighter than a feather, and the use of it varies. Ha ha, ha 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 ha, the use of me, Song Chunming, is probably to pay loan sharks. When Song Chunming was taken away, his company's license, official seal, financial seal, and legal person seal were also taken away. He was taken downstairs of the company and put into a van. The van drove away and drove to Woolen Square. When it stopped, 2 people took Song Chunming out of the van and walked to a parked car in front. Inside, Song Chunming was stuffed into the back seat. They sat in one on the left and the other on the right, sandwiching Song Chunming in the middle. Song Chunming saw the baby face sitting in the front passenger seat. The baby-faced boy turned around and said to Song Chunming, "Hello, Mr. Song." Song Chunming could only say, "Hello, Mr. Huang." The baby face said, "Mr. Song, we have no other intention of inviting you here. We think that you can no longer work in the company. How can you work if there are so many debtors there? We are also your creditors, so why don't we still work? I'm worried about your safety. If there is a pressing need for debt, what will happen to you? Then we will suffer a lot of losses, don't you think so?" Song Chunming didn't know what to say, so he could only say nothing and just look at the baby face. The baby face smiled and continued, "So starting from today, the 2 of them will follow you 24 hours a day. Don't worry, we are not kidnapping. You are completely free to move. You can go wherever you want. Just call whoever you call, they will not interfere with you in anything, they will always be with you for safety reasons. Until the debt problem between us is completely resolved, because you have too many unsafe factors now, there is nothing we can do if we don't send people to follow you. Mr. Song, do you understand?" Song Chunming smiled bitterly and said, "I understand, isn't it just house arrest?" I'm serious, Mr. Song, this is not house arrest at all. You are free to do whatever you want. They are just around you. You can treat them as air, or even treat them as if they don't exist. For example, now, Mr. Song, you want them to follow you to pick up your son to eat KFC, buy a game console, or go home, Babyface asked. Song Chunming was shocked. It turned out that he had received the money that day. He thought he was free, but in fact he had been under their surveillance. He naively wanted to escape. Song Chunming was scared to think about it now. If he really wanted to escape that day, then I really don't know what the result will be. Babyface looked at the changes on Song Chunming's face. Babyface smiled slightly and said, "Mr. Song, don't be surprised. We are also responsible for risk control. It is impossible for us to ignore such a large sum of money. When banks lend, don't we also need to designate the use of funds and supervise the flow of funds? You also need to check whether your handling of the funds is consistent with what is stated in our company. To be honest, Mr. Song, we are very satisfied with your performance. You took the money and did not go gambling or find a woman. You just took your son to eat at KFC and bought him a game console. This is very well, this is completely the performance of a good father. You didn't even buy anything for yourself. This makes us very touched. Really, Mr. Song. This is also the reason why you still owed us interest later, and we didn't push you to a dead end, including today. It was me who came to see you, not our boss Fang. If you took the money and went gambling, or pick up a woman, it must be Mr. Fang who comes to see you, not me. You won't be able to owe interest for even one day. Our company also categorizes its customers. A high-quality customer can do great things. We really hope to help him get out of the predicament. Once he gets out of the predicament and has money, of course he will no longer be our customer, but in turn he will become our financial owner. Otherwise, where does our liquidity come from? There are several people, and you will be shocked if I name them, but they were all our customers in the past and are now financial owners. Mr. Song, I hope that one day you can also become our sponsor. This time, Mr. Song, don't worry, we really want to help you and solve your problem once and for all. As for what you saw upstairs, it is not directed at you, but to bring you out, and to solve the problem. Otherwise, as you have seen yourself, you will not be able to get out of your office. By the way, Mr. Song, next, look, will the two of them go home with you, or stay in a hotel? When Song Chunming heard this, he quickly said, "Go to the hotel, go to the hotel." "Okay, I also think this is better," Babyface said. "Mr. Song, go to the hotel. This is your own choice. We are not forcing you, and you are not under house arrest by us. You must understand this. Go once you're in the hotel, you're still free, you can leave whenever you want, and you can go wherever you want." Babyface turned around and said to the driver, "Let's go." Song Chunming thought he would be taken to some wilderness, but he was not. Instead, he kept driving in the city and finally stopped in front of a hotel at the junction of Chingchun Road and Jiangguo Road. Song Chunming and the two people following him checked in at the front desk of the hotel. The room was on the second floor. It seemed that they had selected or arranged this room in advance. The room is a suite with two rooms connected together. One room inside has two beds, and the other room outside also has two beds. There is a bathroom in the middle of the two rooms, but there is only one door. If the person sleeping in the room inside when you go out, you have to pass the one outside. Babyface asked Song Chunming to live in the room inside, and the two people lived outside. Babyface took out a stack of paper from his bag and said to Song Chunming, "Mr. Song, if you have nothing to do here, just write down all the debts you owe. Don't hide them. The more detailed the better, from banks to debts owed to relatives and friends. Even if you owe 10 yuan, write them down. Of course. Including wages owed by the company. Don't worry, we have no other intention, we just want to understand your debt situation clearly so that we can completely solve the problem, okay?" Song Chunming said, "Yes, I will try to write it in full. Thank you, Mr. Song, for understanding. Also, if you want to eat, just tell them and they will order it for you. Don't worry about things in the company, we will handle it. Of course, if you want to continue to go to work every day, you can. But I suggest you not to go. There are so many messy people in the company, and if you go, it will only be bad for you. Also, don't forget to call home. If things are like this in the company today, there will always be rumors that reach your wife's ears. Call her and tell her that you won't be going back tonight, but it's okay and it's safe. That's okay. So that she doesn't have to worry. Babyface said to Song Chunming patiently. Thank you for the tip from the third one from top to bottom, 131 on the shore. Thank you Kingbo, Li Rujin, and Wang Jianchang for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the testimonials and great reading. I wish you all a happy life. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 983. The furnishings in the room are very simple, just 2 beds and a TV. Outside the window is a large open space. The foundation has been dug and the work is currently stopped there. Beyond it, there is the former Gentian River and now the Meeshi River. Although it has entered winter, the riverside is still green. Looking from here, you can only see the parks on both sides of the Meeshi River, not the river. Song Chunming knew that the open space in front of him belonged to Lu Ligan, and all the construction sites on both sides of the Meeshi River belonged to Lu Ligan. Lu Ligan's vote was a big deal. All real estate developers in Hangzhou admired him. But now, even Lu Ligan's construction site has basically stopped, but his suspension is still different from that of Song Chunming. As Mr. Qin said, others are strategic and he has no money. They are in Hangcheng Center. After strategizing for a month, we started to resume work. Our construction site stopped when it stopped. Only God knows when we can resume work. Lu Ligan's Meeshi River project only has 1 or 2 construction sites that are still in normal progress. This is also a strategy. It is said that their sales are still normal. In such a big environment, they are still selling houses every day, but how can they sell it themselves? Song Chunming admired him for not moving. He didn't know how Lu Ligan did it. Hangzhou is neither too small nor too big. Among colleagues, whether you want to inquire or not, there will always be news of one kind or another reaching your ears. As far as the entire real estate industry in Hangzhou is concerned, there are only a handful of people like Lu Ligan, and there are not a few people like Song Chunming who are as bad as him, and some are even worse than him. The land is deserted, the construction sites are rotten, and the people don't even know where they went. Song Chunming remembered the time he went to find Lu Ligan. Even now, he still regrets that he went there once but failed, so he gave up and did not continue to work hard. If I had been acquired by Lu Ligan a few months earlier, my current life would not be so difficult. Although I would not be rich, I would still have some small savings. When I go back to the company, I would be able to say that I did not spend this time in vain. But when he woke up and realized that he should have worked harder, everything was irreversible. If he went to find someone else, they would not be interested in him. He would rather wait for the court to deal with it than go to the auction. If you negotiate a deal, he can no longer make the final decision on Song Chunming's things. There was an iron grill installed on the window. Song Chunming subconsciously reached out and shook it. The babyface said behind him, "Mr. Song, don't get me wrong. This is not something we pretended to be. It was originally in the hotel." I know, Song Chunming said. "Okay, Mr. Song, I have to leave first if I have something to do. If you need anything, just call us," babyface said. Song Chunming said yes. "You two come in," babyface shouted, and the 2 people outside quickly entered the room. They were both about 1.8 meters tall, and the ceiling of the room was very low. The two people stood side by side, like a wall. Both of their surnames are Lin, Mr. Song. You can call them Dalin and Xiaolin. The baby-faced guy standing near him, his face covered with acne, said, "He is Xiaolin, that one is Dalin, if you need anything, just call them." Babyface then told Dalin and Xiaolin, "You two are in the room outside. If you have nothing to do, don't come in and disturb Mr. Song's rest." Both Dalin and Xiaolin agreed. "Mr. Song, you rest first, I'm leaving," Babyface said, raising his right hand to his ear, making a phone call gesture, and said to Song Chunming, "Don't forget to call home." Song Chunming said quickly, "Thank you, Mr. Huang, I understand." Babyface left. Song Chunming stood in front of the window, looking outside. He looked at the iron fence in front of him. Although Babyface repeatedly told him that they were not under house arrest, Dalin and Xiaolin did stay outside all the time, but Song Chunming, it just feels like being under house arrest. Although the air conditioner was on, the room was still a little cold. Song Chunming looked at it and simply sat on the bed, got into the quilt, took the remote control from the bedside table, turned on the TV and wanted to watch it for a while. He felt very irritated. "Turn it off and look at the time. My wife should have received her son." Song Chunming detained his wife. After a while, his wife called back. Song Chunming told her that I had something urgent and was on a business trip. I might have to stay out for a few days. My wife said yes. After a while, Xiaolin walked in and asked, "Mr. Song, what do you want to eat?" "I'll buy it." Song Chunming said, "Anything is fine. Whatever you eat, I will eat." "Okay, then I'm going to cook 2 dishes." "Mr. Song, do you want to drink?" Xiaolin asked again. Song Chunming thought about it. There was nothing going on here anyway, so he agreed to drink a little. He heard Xiaolin and Dalin say from outside, "I'm going to buy food, you watch him." "Go, go," Dalin shouted. Song Chunming heard it from inside and smiled bitterly. That's right, he was still being watched. What is it if it's not house arrest? 10 minutes later, Song Chunming's eldest brother rang loudly. He picked up the phone. It was his wife. The wife asked anxiously on the phone, "Chunming, what happened in the company today?" "It's nothing," Song Chunming said. He said nothing happened. "All your old colleagues came home." Song Chunming became a little angry when he heard this. These bastards had called him all afternoon, and he had patiently explained to them. Unexpectedly, they would go home in groups, and his son was at home. Song Chunming suppressed the anger in his heart and asked his wife, who was at home. His wife talked about the people who came to the house, and Song Chunming said, "You put the elephant on the phone." Xiang Xiang was named Elephant. Because he was taller, everyone called him Elephant. Elephant was originally in the same office as Song Chunming. "Chunming, it's me." The elephant's voice came from the other side of the phone. "Elephant, what do you mean? Didn't I tell you this afternoon that it's not a big deal? It's just that the project money hasn't been paid in full. People from the construction company came to make a fuss. It's fine now." Song Chunming did not dare to tell Xiang that it was a loan shark who was causing trouble. For people like them in the agency, hearing the word loan shark would scare them half to death. "It's okay, Chunming, we just came over after get off work to see if there's anything wrong with you," Elephant said. "It's okay. I'm on a business trip, just to solve the funding problem." "Elephant, ask him when our money will be given to him. We can't wait for the money to be used day by day." Song Chunming heard the voice of Zhuge Qiao. "Chunming, Zhuge asks you." I know. Wait until I go back in 2 days. It's not convenient to talk here now." "It will be 2 days later, Chunming, how many times have you said it will be 2 days? Then I say now, Is that okay? I want to pay you back right away, but I also have to have money to give it. As Song Chunming spoke, he suddenly became angry and cursed. I just have no humming money right now, what do you think I should do? Or, since so many of you have gone home, let's see if there is anything valuable at home, and you can just move there, okay? There's nothing left, move, and my wife and son, whoever the hell wants it can take it. Elephant was obviously frightened and hung up the phone before Song Chunming finished scolding him. After 4 or 5 minutes, Song Chunming's mobile phone rang again. Song Chunming determined that it must be a colleague who was not willing to let go and continued to call. He was so angry that he lifted the quilt on his body, opened the mobile phone and yelled. Road. Who? Is it over yet? Damn it, when you are eating me, drinking me, playing with me, you are never willing to miss a day. There was no sound on the other end of the phone. It was silent. Song Chunming continued to yell. Tell me, who are you? Have you ever had sex with me? Have you ever felt so beautiful while holding a little girl in your arms that you still had to do something, but in the end I paid for all the humming tips? There was a sound of sobbing on the phone. Song Chunming recognized his wife's voice and panicked. He quickly said, wife, I'm sorry. I thought it was Elephant and those bastards again. These bastards are too, it was too much. They called me all afternoon and I told them. Unexpectedly, they even ran home after get off work. What do you mean? They left. Song Chunming's wife cried, Chunming, how are you living today? So many people came to the house to ask for debts, and the words they said were so unpleasant. My son was frightened. He took his own, they took out their piggy banks and said they wanted to pay them back for you, and they also took out a game console and said they wanted to compensate them. Song Chunming's nose felt sore and he almost shed tears. He said, this way, wife, how about you go to your mother's house to stay for a few days first? When I come back, you can come back. The door outside opened, and it was Xiaolin who came back. As soon as he came in, he shouted, Mr. Song, it's time to eat. Dalin quickly said shh, nodded his head inside, and winked at Xiaolin. He had been listening attentively to what was going on inside. Song Chunming and his wife said, they are calling me. I am going out. That's it? You and your son go to your mother's place first, and you will go tonight, okay? My wife hummed. Song Chunming first walked into the bathroom between the two rooms, washed his face, and then walked outside. Dalin and Xiaolin had put a round coffee table next to the bed and moved 2 chairs over, so that he could sit alone on the bed. There is enough room for 3 people on 2 chairs. On the coffee table, there were 4 dishes in foam boxes and a bottle of Red Star Urquatu. Xiaolin found 3 teacups. When he saw Song Chunming coming out, he quickly asked him to sit down. Song Chunming sat down. He looked at the teacup in front of him. He saw the black dirt around the edge of the cup. He felt a little disgusted, but he didn't care. Urquatu was sterilized anyway. A bottle of wine was poured into 3 full glasses. Xiaolin clapped his hands and said, drink. Dalin raised the cup and shouted, click it first. Song Chunming and Xiaolin also raised their glasses and were about to touch them. Xiaolin retracted his outstretched hand and shouted. Wait a minute, let's clink glasses. I need an explanation. Come on, Mr. Song. We are all rough guys and don't understand anything. You are educated. Please give us an explanation. That's right, Mr. Song will give you an explanation, Dalin also said. Song Chunming thought for a moment and said, then I hope we meet by chance. Okay, it's a chance meeting, Xiaolin said. In normal times, we wouldn't have the chance to drink with big bosses like you. Come on, let's meet. Song Chunming smiled bitterly and shook his head, and the 3 people's cups clinked. Thanks for the reward, why can't I change my name? I don't even know if anyone asks me. Thank you for a safe journey and FanFan's monthly ticket. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei-Shi Niang. Chapter 984. When the creditors went to Hangcheng Sentai Real Estate Co., Limited the next day, they were a little surprised that the company was still open. Originally, they just came to take a look with the mentality of giving it a try. Well, this company was probably closed today, but when I came up, I was surprised to see that the door was still open. The door of Hangcheng Sentai Real Estate Company was not only open, but there were several people sitting inside. They were not from the company. They claimed to be Song Chunming's friends and said that Boss Song was raising funds outside. Here, they were entrusted to make a debt registration. After the funds are raised, those who registered first will be repaid first. The creditors quickly registered the EIS, which made several old colleagues and relatives of Song Chunming anxious. They said that when their money was given to Song Chunming, they did not even write an IOU. Such a good relationship, how could you write an IOU? Besides, Song Chunming has always acknowledged this account, and there has never been any doubt. The person in charge of registration said, "It doesn't matter. You can also register. As long as Boss Song recognizes it, it will be fine. Also, anyone who took anything from here yesterday will take it back today." The person in charge of registration said to the creditors, "We all have surveillance. A calculator and a box of staples were taken from here. We also know who took it, and if you don't get it back, triple the price will be deducted from your debt." After the creditors registered, they left their contact information. The person in charge of the registration said that those who have registered can go back first. By the way, if there are Boss Song around you who owe him money, ask him to come over quickly. Register. Creditors asked, "When will this matter be resolved?" The person in charge of registration said that because all problems need to be solved at once, it depends on the speed of credit registration. Once all registrations are completed, we will work out a solution immediately and notify you then. "Isn't it going to disappear after today?" someone shouted. No, you can call me." The person in charge of registration told everyone his mobile phone number and said to them, "But let me tell you something ugly earlier. After you called me, I told you to call me again in a few days. You just call me again in a few days. Otherwise, so many people call me every day. I don't have to do anything. I just answer the phone. If you call me, I will be upset and curse you." Everyone nodded, feeling that what he said was true. No one could be seen yesterday, but today at least a few people showed up to deal with this matter, which gave everyone a glimmer of hope again. Many of the creditors have met here many times and are in contact with each other, especially those old colleagues of Song Chunming, who were originally from the same unit. People who have been here said that in the afternoon, there were even more people coming. One after another, some people brought back the things they took away yesterday. Only the guy who took the fax machine back did not show up. He was originally a debt of several $1,000s, and he took away a fax machine, so he was probably already settled. Forget it. At about 3 o'clock, the office director came. When he looked out, he saw that there were all unknown people in the company. He thought they were all debtors. He turned around and wanted to leave, but unexpectedly someone knew him and grabbed him. He grabbed him, dragged him back, and dragged him back in front of a big black man. The man had a burly build and a square mahjong face with a scar. The sight of him made the director shudder. "Mr. Fan, this is the office director of this company. You handle it? This guy is very dishonest. When we came yesterday, he ran away first," said Fan Jiangguo with a mahjong face and who was registering claims. Fan Jiangguo glanced sideways at the director and cursed, "If something happens, you abandon your boss and run away. This kind of person should be slapped. Someone actually slapped the director. The director covered his face and said aggrievedly, I don't know what you are doing or who you are. What if I don't leave? You don't know what it is, so you need to find out what it is. Otherwise, what are you getting paid for? Fan Jiangguo scolded, it's your boss who owes money, not you. No matter how much you ask for money, will it be blamed on you? Why are you running away? Just keep it and see what happens to the boss. Is this what you, an office director, should do? The director was left speechless by the question, and cursed with a mahjong face, I didn't tell you, this kind of person is a traitor. Go and clean the paint off the door. The director obediently took the rag and knife and wiped off the red paint on the door glass and wall. When Song Chunming woke up, it was already past 10 o'clock. He felt a little strange. He hadn't had such a solid sleep for a long time, and there was not a single phone call. Originally, this was the time when the most calls came in from creditors, but today his big brother was actually quiet. Song Chunming himself found it funny. He hadn't had a good night's sleep in such a long time. The first good night's sleep he had was when he was taken away by a loan shark and someone was watching over him. Probably because he decided in his heart that he couldn't do anything he wanted to do anyway, so he might as well just not think about anything and resign himself to fate. Song Chunming opened his eyes and felt nauseous. He saw a pair of red shorts hanging on the vent of the indoor unit of the air conditioner, fluttering in the wind of the air conditioner. These were Xiaolin's shorts. It seemed that this year was his birth year. He must be 24 years old. Warm wind blew from there, and Song Chunming felt the smell of crotch. He quickly turned his head away, not looking at the red shorts that were fluttering like a red flag. Song Chunming remembered that Xiaolin had asked for his opinion last night. He came in with shorts covered by a clothes hanger, pointed at the air outlet of the air conditioner, and said to Song Chunming, Mr. Song, there are all hanging clothes outside. Can I hang this with you? Song Chunming agreed with him. Xiaolin hooked the hook of the clothes hanger on the plastic piece of the air outlet, and the water on his shorts dripped down in strings. Xiaolin turned around and saw Song Chunming's shorts hanging on the back of the chair, and said to him, Mr. Song, there is no place to dry them here. I can do it, or I can help you hang it there. Song Chunming quickly said, No, no, no. When the shorts were wet, I saw them hanging heavily and dripping with water. I didn't feel anything yet, but now I see them floating, and the wind blows on my face. Why is it so disgusting? Song Chunming quickly took the remote control of the air conditioner and turned the air conditioner's fan down. Only when the crotch wind didn't blow directly on his face did Song Chunming feel better. None of the three of them brought underwear. After taking a shower, they washed their shorts and hung them to dry. They all got into bed with their buttocks bare and fell asleep. An embarrassing thing happened in the middle of the night, that is, when Song Chunming got up and went to the bathroom, Dalin happened to come over to go to the bathroom. The two naked buttocks were facing each other. There was no place to hide, but Dalin said you should go first. First, Song Chunming quickly got into the bathroom. When he came out, Dalin was still standing at the door. Song Chunming slipped into the room and got under the quilt without raising his head. The three of them drank a lot last night. After sitting down and drinking for more than 10 minutes, Song Chunming found that there was no more cigarettes. He said, I'm going to buy cigarettes. He stood up and walked out the door. As expected, Dalin and Xiaolin did not stop him. Xiaolin followed Song Chunming without saying a word. The two of them went downstairs and walked to the small shop next door. Song Chunming bought 3 packs of cigarettes, saw Urquatu on the counter, and bought another bottle of wine. A few bags of peanuts and orchid beans before going back. He gave a pack of cigarettes to Dalin and Xiaolin, and they quickly said thank you. Putting peanuts and orchid beans on the coffee table, the three of them sat down and continued drinking. While drinking and chatting, Song Chunming asked them, "How many people like you are there in your company?" "There are many," Xiaolin said. "Depending on the need, there are usually a few hundred, but the ones that are commonly used are about 20. "A few hundred? So many? A group fight. Spanking can't happen if there are too many people, because it scares the other party," Dalin said. "It's possible to fight if there are few people." Song Chunming became interested and asked, "So your company usually supports so many people?" "No, no company can afford to support so many people. We only call them when needed," Xiaolin said, "except for the more than 20 of us, who are considered formal employees of the company and receive a basic salary, the others are called on a temporary basis. It's on a piece rate basis anyway." "How is this piece rate?" "If you don't do it, it's 80 at a time, that is, you stand still and scare people. Or it's like this. If you follow someone, it's 150 to 200, Dalin said. Song Chunming asked, "Then if you do this, you will be 80 a day." "Not that high, 50, Xiaolin said. "Why are you only 50, Song Chunming was surprised. "We have a basic salary, 600 a month, Xiaolin said, 50 is a subsidy. Song Chunming understood and said with a smile, "Then you too have high incomes, and the salary of a university professor is not as high as yours." "High wages are useless, it's different," Xiaolin said. "What's different?" "They are respected by others, but we are hated by others every day. Just like us now, Mr. Song, although you drink together, you actually hate us in your heart and wish us to get out of here right away. Am I right?" Xiaolin asked. Song Chunming thought about it and realized that this was really the case. He said, "Okay, I admit that what you said is right. However, my dislike is not personal. We have no grievances against each other, right? It is impossible for me to dislike you personally. I just hate this thing, which means I have no freedom. No matter if it's you, Chen, Xiao Chen, Zhang or Zhang who are here today, I will always hate them." Xiaolin nodded, "Mr. Song, what you said makes sense. You said you don't have freedom." "That's not right, Mr. Song. We don't care where you go, so why don't you have freedom?" Dalin asked. Song Chunming thought for a while and said, "Yes, you did not interfere with my actions, but this is not freedom. This freedom must be bracketed. As long as someone is watching, no matter whether they interfere with your actions or not, you will not relax, just like you if you walk around naked in a room, but you are not allowed to close the curtains, would you feel awkward no matter if there is no one outside watching?" Dalin and Xiaolin both nodded. "But if you draw the curtains, you will feel relaxed immediately, because no matter whether there is anyone outside, you know they can't see it, right? Only in this way will you feel free. Freedom is from the inside out. When you relax outside, as long as someone is watching, you don't feel free," Song Chunming said. "No wonder," Xiaolin said, "I followed a man before. We followed him for more than 10 days and we did nothing. But that man said he was going crazy." Song Chunming nodded, thinking to himself that if he was followed like this for more than 10 days, he would go crazy. This is cold violence without seeing the punches and kicks. Cold violence deprives you of your dignity and relaxed mentality. Time is more torturous than violence. Come on, let's drink. This matter is getting more and more confusing the more we talk about it. Dalin raised his glass and they clinked it. "Thank you to Dal Tin Soldier and RIRI Shushu for the reward. Thank you Jackie for your monthly pass to learn singing and bustling farce. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health." The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 985. When the last bit of wine in the cup was gone, Xiaolin opened the bottle that Song Chunming bought later, divided it into 3 parts, and continued drinking. When he was happy with the wine, he talked more and casually. Song Chunming asked, How do you, Mr. Huang and Mr. Fang, divide the work? One is civil and one is military, Xiaolin said. Mr. Fang's place has water prisons, jacks, malatang, and some hardships. But it's different here with Mr. Huang. They never do this. Then your company's debt mainly depends on Mr. Fang, Song Chunming said. Shit, it mainly depends on Mr. Huang, Dalin said. Mr. Huang is doing all the big orders. Oh, how could it happen? Song Chunming was surprised. He looked at Xiaolin, and Xiaolin nodded. He said, Fang is always brave and foolhardy. When he meets many customers, his brain is not enough. The condom may look scary, but it's actually useless. Think about it, if you just hit them again, if they don't have money, they'll have no money. What can you do? You can't beat people to death. Even if I beat you to death, your life will not be easy. Even if you are seriously injured, you will have to spend money on treatment in the end, and Mr. Huang will have to come forward to wipe his ass. Otherwise, they will make up their minds and fight you to the death. Either if you call the police when you go out, you won't be the one running away in the end, so what's the point? You won't get the money, but you'll have to pay a sum of money as compensation. His tricks can only frighten people who don't want to take the immediate losses. Mr. Huang is different. He has a good mind and is very useful. He always targets people's weakest points. You may seem useless, but if you fall into his hands, life is worse than death, and you can't blame him at all. Also, Mr. Fang's trick of asking for a small order like this may still work. People can borrow it from relatives and friends, or sell something, and they can still get it together. How can it be possible for a big order? You can't get it even if you kill them. It's not that people are unwilling to take it out, it's that there is really no other way, Dalin said. Song Chunming suddenly remembered that this was really the case. Mr. Huang was always smiling, but suddenly he said that he would accompany you to take your son to eat KFC and buy a game console, which frightened Song Chunming half to death. He asked whether he should go to your home or the hotel. Song Chunming chose to come here. It seemed like it was your own choice, but in fact it was the path he chose for you. If you don't take this, there will be no way to go. He got to know you first, knew what you cared about most, caught what you cared about most, and threatened you with what you cared about most. This would make you fearful, and it would be worse than making you suffer a little bit. Effect. Mr. Song, don't worry, Mr. Qin asked Mr. Huang to take charge of your case. You will be satisfied in the end, Xiaolin said. Satisfying myself, Song Chunming was surprised. How to satisfy yourself? Mr. Huang will solve all your troubles at once, Dalin said. This is what Mr. Huang is so good about. He uses his brain to think about it every day. He doesn't think about how to make you pay back the money, but how to make him pay back the money by taking advantage of you and the people around you. You will always get more than you should pay back in the end, but it will also help you solve the problem completely. How to do it? Song Chunming became interested. If we knew, wouldn't we also be the boss? Xiaolin said. Dalin is right, Mr. Huang is like this, it's like playing with a Rubik's Cube, it seems to be spinning around, and finally it snaps, and everything is fine. What Mr. Huang likes to say the most is that everyone has potential value, and we must tap their potential value to obtain our greatest benefits. Mr. Huang did not lie to you, Dalin said. Many of our company's original customers actually became the bosses of our company later, and their money was placed with us. They just felt that we had the ability to manage it well. This money helps them make money. It can be seen that you too like to work with Mr. Huang, Song Chunming said. Of course, with Mr. Huang, your mind will be spinning every day, making you feel that you have become smarter. Xiaolin looked at the closed door, lowered his voice and said. Following Mr. Fang, I just act stupidly and rush around. I am always in fear that something is going to happen. Those who run away and are used as shields are the first to be unlucky. It's not just us. We also earn some wages. Those people are like you said, we have no grievances or grudges, so who wants to cause more trouble? That's right. Come on, let's touch it. Song Chunming raised his glass and they touched it again. Putting down the cup, Song Chunming remembered something and asked, "Can I ask you something?" Xiaolin nodded, "Mr. Song, tell me." "One time, Mr. Fang, your boss, brought two people to buy a house from me. Those two people looked weird." "What's going on?" Song Chunming asked. Xiaolin looked at Dalin, and Dalin waved his hand and shouted, say, this is not a secret." "That's to punish them," Xiaolin said. "Punish them?" "Yes, those two bastards borrowed money from us and went to Mood for Love at night. They asked for the biggest box and hired more than a dozen girls, all of whom were the most expensive ones. They spent more than 10,000 on tips alone." Xiaolin said, "In the end, Mr. Fang took them out of the box. They were originally going to throw them into the Qiantang River, but Mr. Huang said that they like spending money so much, so he took them to spend money. In the end, I took it to you to buy a house," Dalin said. Song Chunming almost laughed. This was really a punishment for them, letting them use the money to buy a house they didn't need at all, and the money went back to Mr. Huang and the others. It's no wonder that these two people went to the sales department and didn't even choose any floor or apartment type. They just wanted to finish their work and leave early. Song Chunming got up from the bed, took the shorts hanging on the back of the chair, and found that they were still a little damp. Song Chunming remembered that there was a hairdryer in the bathroom, so he put on his outer trousers, picked up the shorts and went to the bathroom, blowing them with the hairdryer. "When I felt dry, I walked out of the bathroom." He stretched his head to look outside and saw that Dalin was still sleeping soundly. Xiaolin obviously heard the noise and sat up, but he was sitting on the bed with his back against the backrest and his eyes were still closed. Song Chunming shook his head, went back to the inner room, took off his outer trousers, put on his shorts, put his clothes and pants back on, went to the bathroom to wash up, returned to the room, and saw that the time was almost 11 o'clock, so he might as well wait it's time to have lunch. He took the stack of paper left by Babyface, moved the TV to the side on the table to make a space, and wrote down his debts while thinking about it. The next day, Fan Jiangguo and Babyface went to Hangzhou Sentai Real Estate Co., Limited. Mahjongface did not go. The most ferocious wave of debt demanders had passed, so there was no need for him to dispatch. Babyface took to just go over there. Today, some creditors came to register one after another, and people from the company also came back. Babyface saw Xiaolu and told her, "You should go to the sales department. If the sky falls, it will not affect your sales. Department, you just concentrate on selling the house. Don't worry, your salary will not be less." Xiaolu said yes and left with her two people. By the afternoon of the next day, no creditors came. Fan Jiangguo asked the treasurer and director to come over and ask. Both of them said that these people seemed to be the ones who usually came to ask for debts, and there were no others. "Is there anyone who went directly to Mr. Song that you don't know about?" Fan Jiangguo asked. "Impossible. I know all the people who come to Mr. Song's place. The only ones who haven't come to register yet are the banks," the director said. "The bank is already preparing materials and has decided to sue. They won't come to you," Babyface said. On the first day, Mahjongface and the others made such a big fuss, splashing paint, holding banners and making noise with a large group of people, and even took Song Chunming away, just to take away all the company. All the creditors were aroused, which is what Tan Shuhan said, making Lei completely explode. If this company is left alone, it will still survive. Now it is a sap, let him die quickly, and his death will be ugly. Only in this way, those who want debts will only want to get their money as soon as possible, and there will be no other ideas. This will be a lot easier for them to arrange their funeral. Fan Jiangguo looked at it and felt that if there were no creditors who could not be stimulated by such a big movement, there were probably no creditors, or there were people who could not be stimulated, such as Song Chunming's parents. They didn't even consider the money they gave Song Chunming to be a debt, so what kind of debt would they come to ask for? To be on the safe side, Fan Jiangguo and Babyface went there on the morning of the third day, but after waiting all morning, there was no one there. Babyface and Fan Jiangguo said it was almost done. Fan Jiangguo also felt that it was almost done. The two people left Hangcheng Sentai Real Estate Co., Limited and went to the hotel where Song Chunming and the others were staying. When they entered, Song Chunming and Dalin Xiaolin had just finished eating and were playing cards. When they saw them coming, they quickly stopped playing. Babyface asked Song Chunming, "Mr. Song, have you written the bill here?" Okay. Song Chunming said, hurriedly went to the inner room and took out a stack of paper, walked out and handed it to Babyface, who glanced at it a few times and asked, "Mr. Song, did you miss anything?" "No more," Song Chunming said, "I wrote this out the day before yesterday. I have thought about it over and over again in the past 2 days, and I am sure it is gone." Babyface nodded and handed them to Fan Jiangguo. Fan Jiangguo sat down on the bed and compared what Song Chunming wrote with what he had registered. He found that every debt he registered was on the bill written by Song Chunming, but there were more than a dozen debts that were on Song Chunming's bill but not on his registration form. Fan Jiangguo and Song Chunming said, "Mr. Song, there are a few accounts, please help me explain them." Song Chunming said yes. Fan Jiangguo pointed to a name on the bill written by Song Chunming and asked, "You have this person here, but why didn't he come when we were registering debts in your company these days? This is my brother-in-law, and this one is my sister-in-law, and this is my eldest sister. How could they go to the company to ask for the money I owe them?" Song Chunming said. Fan Jiangguo nodded and understood. Fan Jiangguo then asked, "What about these ones, all 50,000, and these, all 40,000, what's going on with them?" "The ones with 50,000 yuan are the directors and deputy directors of my former bureau, and the ones with 40,000 yuan are the directors of the bureau," Song Chunming said. Fan Jiangguo smiled and said, "I understand, borrowing money is based on level. My piece of land originally belonged to a company under our bureau. The bureau leaders unanimously agreed to give me that piece of land at a meeting. So when I went to see, they all lent me money to show their support. Now I am in trouble. They really wanted the money back, but they were probably too embarrassed to ask for it, because they never called to ask once," Song Chunming explained. "Mr. Song used to be in the work unit and was very popular," Babyface said. Fan Jiangguo nodded, "I can tell. That's why Mr. Qin and I think it's worth helping," Babyface said. Fan Jiangguo said clearly, "Let's go." Fan Jiangguo and Babyface arrived at splendid Jiangnan and went to Babyface and Zhonghui Company. They went directly to Mr. Qin's office and gave both forms to Mr. Qin. Mr. Qin asked them if there was no accident. "Not anymore," Babyface said. "Do you think it will be difficult to handle?" "It's not big, just hold down the Agricultural Bank of China and let Yes Yenxian, Night Owl, and the others pick it up, that's all." The Babyface pointed at Fan Jiangguo and said. Mr. Qin looked at Fan Jiangguo, and Fan Jiangguo said, "The total debt is not large, and we should be able to take it." "Okay, then the Agricultural Bank of China belongs to me, and your Mr. Lu, Mr. Tan, belongs to you," Mr. Qin and Fan Jiangguo said. Thank you to book friends 1606100811461004, third from top to bottom, and on the shore 131 for the reward. Thank you for your monthly ticket to Kuajiting Lishabian. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium era, south to north. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 986. Fan Jiangguo took the 2 bills and returned to the company. After thinking about it, he first went to Tan Shahan's office. Lao Tan was also here. Fan Jiangguo told them that the mine exploded and this was Hangcheng Sentai Real Estate Co., limited of all debts. Tan Shahan took it and browsed page by page. After reading it, she asked Fan Jiangguo, "Is this all there?" Fan Jiangguo said yes, everything. No other hidden debts. No more, they are all here. If there are, they must have been stirred up. Are you sure? Tan Shahan looked at Fan Jiangguo and asked. Fan Jiangguo nodded, 100% sure. Tan Shahan picked up the 2 watches on the table, shook them in her hands, and asked Fan Jiangguo, "These 2 things are very similar, what do they mean? What's the difference between them?" Fan Jiangguo and Tan Shahan said, "One is the debt registration carried out in his company, and the other is written by their boss himself. There are no major discrepancies between the 2. There are some inconsistencies. I have also verified them, so I say it is the right one." Everything exploded. Fan Jiangguo took the 2 forms and pointed out the inconsistencies to Tan Shahan and Lao Tan, and then told them who these people were and why they did not appear on the creditor registration form. Tan Shahan felt something was wrong as she listened. She raised her head, looked at Fan Jiangguo and asked, "It's so clear that you were also involved in this matter." "Yes," Fan Jiangguo said, "I don't worry about other people's registration. I registered there myself. If there are any discrepancies, I have checked every transaction with Mr. Song of Sentai Real Estate in person." "Are you desperate for your life?" Tan Shahan scolded. "If Mr. Lu finds out, you will be doomed. Don't you just know now? There are some dirty things. It's better for you to know than not to know, but someone has to do this kind of thing. If you are afraid of getting your hands dirty, then I will do it," Fan Jiangguo said. Lao Tan laughed at the side and said, "What you say is rough, but your reasoning is not rough. Mr. Tan, you are right about something. Now that he has exploded, you have indeed helped the boss. His bank and other interest rates are not included. The loan shark alone costs 400,000 yuan a month. He can't sustain it at all. It would save him money by exploding it 1 day earlier. Okay, don't talk too much, let me take a look first." As Tan Shahan spoke, she took a calculator on the table and started counting. After the calculation, the total debt was more than 24.28 million, plus the interest owed to loan sharks, plus this month, the full amount will be 1.2 million. "Zhonghui Company wants us to give them another 2 million, Fan Jiangguo said. "Why?" Tan Shahan asked, "What kind of money is this?" "They said it was the cleaning fee," Fan Jiangguo chuckled. "Cleaning fee, what do you mean?" Tan Shahan didn't understand why there was a cleaning fee for this acquisition project. "It is to help us remove all obstacles and help us hold back the Agricultural Bank of China. The Agricultural Bank of China is already preparing to sue. If the lawsuit is withdrawn after the lawsuit is filed, the Agricultural Bank of China will have to go through internal procedures and fees, which will be more troublesome. Now through the relationship, we can repay the loan. When the time comes, you only need to pay back the interest, and there will be no penalty interest or anything like that. There are other messy and difficult creditors, including construction companies. After we take over, we will definitely not use the original construction companies again. It will definitely be troublesome to drive them away. They will help us clean up these." Tan Shahan nodded. "If she really takes over, these things really need to be done by someone. They can do it best. In this case, it will be more than 27 million. Tan Shahan said and calculated on the calculator again. "I remember that piece of land was 58 acres, 58 times 666. Their project was 6 stories, with a floor area ratio of 1.0, and a construction area of just over 38,000 square meters, or 27 million. Adding in the construction costs, our profit margin doesn't seem to be very large. No, most of their houses have been built to 2 floors. The construction company does not owe a penny of the project payment. Of the 8 million they took from loan sharks, more than 7 million was paid for the project, Fan Jiangguo said. How many houses have been sold? Tan Shehen said, it would not be cost effective to sell more. Basically not sold. As of today, only 6 sets have been sold. So miserable. If it wasn't so miserable, I would have borrowed money from loan sharks. Tan Shehen smiled at Lao Tan and said, I am still dissatisfied with the sales of our Mies Hai project every day, which makes Ying Ying run away when she sees me. I didn't expect that we are still doing well. What does it mean to be fairly good? Fan Jiangguo said. The entire real estate industry in Hangzhou knows that we are the ones selling the best houses now. Really, then should I still praise Ying Ying? Tan Shehen continued to smile. Also, more than 3 million of the more than 6 million yuan are personal loans from the company owner. Many of them don't even have EIS. This part is not a company debt, so we don't have to admit it, Fan Jiangguo said. Nonsense, you are trying to force this boss to stop being a human being from now on, Lao Tan scolded. Did you see that your bad idea won't work here? Tan Shehen said, don't even mention it to Mr. Liu. If you do, you will be scolded by him. Okay, you are all noble and upright, I will be the villain, Fan Jiangguo shouted. Tan Shehen asked Lao Tan, is the pole there now? Lao Tan walked to the door to look and said yes. Tan Shehen stood up and said to Fan Jiangguo, wait here while I go find Mr. Liu. Fan Jiangguo said yes. Lao Tan said, I will go with you. Tan Shehen said with a smile, brother, I just want you to escort me. That cow will definitely get angry when he hears that he wants to cooperate with a loan shark company. The two people walked into Lu Ligan's office. Tan Shehen told Lu Ligan exactly what happened. Sure enough, when Lu Ligan heard about it, he wanted to cooperate with the loan shark Zhonghui and give them another 200 yuan. Wan immediately became furious and shouted. No, I've told you a long time ago that I won't cooperate with loan sharks. It's not that I don't want to part with the 2 million, but I don't want to work with them. Have you finished speaking? Tan Shehen looked at Lu Ligan and asked steadily. That's it? What, do you have any opinion? Lu Ligan asked. No, I'm just reminding you that you have already cooperated with others, Tan Shehen said. Impossible, I have never heard of this company, Lu Ligan shouted, there is absolutely no way I have ever cooperated with them. Do you know where this company is? Tan Shehen asked. Where? Block C of splendid Jiangnan. Let me go, do we have a loan shark company there? What's so strange about that? Are you familiar with the business of every company there? I think you are only familiar with Chu Tianlin and Lao Ni's companies, right? Tan Shehen said, we are selling houses, do you still have to deal with them? Every customer who comes to buy a house is subject to business review and political review. This company is your client, do you think you have ever cooperated with it? Lu Lizan stared at Tan Shehen and was speechless for a moment. Tan Shehen continued to ask, what, do you want to return the purchase money to them and kick them out? Old Tan was on the side, watching them laugh and keep shaking his head. Lu Ligan asked, Old Tan, why are you shaking your head? Surrender, let's put it this way, you can't defeat Zhen Zhen. Just one sentence from you and she will have a dozen sentences waiting for you, Lao Tan said. Tan Shehen and Lu Ligan both laughed. Lu Ligan sighed and said, it's true that I can't explain it. I'm so sharp-tongued. You are so sharp-tongued. What I said makes sense. Tan Shehen scolded, also, the boss of Sentai Real Estate has only sold 6 houses so far, not even one a month. But now, his loan shark and bank interest alone cost 50-50 a month won. When he sells a house, he can only pay half of the interest. Hero, come and help him think of a way to find a way out. So miserable. What do you think? Do you think it would be better for him to continue dragging the door, or to close the door as soon as possible? Tan Shahen asked. Lu Ligan tilted his head and thought for a while, then shook his head. Then he has no way out, brother. This guy is even worse than we were in Heiken. At that time, at least we didn't have usurers to force us. Money is not easy to owe. Lao Tan nodded and said, yes, we will be driven crazy just by the wages of suppliers and workers. Zhangzi, Zhen is right, we have no way to ask others, we can only ask ourselves, no matter what. It doesn't matter if it's a loan shark company or any other company, as long as we do things ourselves with a clear conscience. Lu Ligan asked curiously, did she just say this? Understand the spirit, Tan Shahen scolded. Okay, you make the decision. Anyway, Lao Meng said that I am in the company and have been sidelined. If you two come together, I will definitely not be able to withstand it, Lu Ligan said with a smile. What else did Lao Meng say? Tan Shahen asked. What else are you talking about? I can't tell you, Lu Ligan smiled playfully. Xiao Fan. Seeing this formation, Lao Tan knew that Lu Ligan had agreed, so he shouted. Fan Jiangguo ran over quickly, and Tan Shahen said to him, you should contact Zhonghui Company and arrange a time to negotiate. Fan Jiangguo said yes, I will arrange it immediately. After Fan Jiangguo finished speaking, he was about to go out. Wait a minute, Lu Ligan called. You ask them to invite the boss of Sentai Real Estate to come with us. He must participate in all our negotiations. We have nothing to hide. We cannot let him feel like he is being sold. Let's make it clear to him that during the negotiation process, as long as he regrets it, we can suspend the negotiation at any time, Lu Ligan and Fan Jiangguo said. Mr. Qin, Mr. Huang, and Mr. Fang received a call from Fan Jiangguo and immediately took Song Chunming to Lu Ligan's company. Fan Jiangguo was waiting for them at the door. When they saw Mr. Fang coming, Fan Jiangguo startled. He quickly stopped him and said to Mr. Fang, "Bntou, don't go up, stay with me on the first floor." Mr. Fang was stunned for a moment and asked, "May I introduce you, Yezingxian, how do you say, Night Owl?" Fan Jiangguo said, "It doesn't look good. We, Mr. Tan, are still a beauty. You, a black man, are so weird, terrible. You are showing your face." After Fan Jiangguo finished speaking, he left. Mr. Qin and Mr. Huang also left. Mr. Fang scolded, "Yexinexing, are you going to get slapped?" Fan Jiangguo leaned forward and said, come on, slap me in the east." Mr. Fang stretched out his hand, pushed his face away, and looked at Mr. Qin. Mr. Qin nodded. Mr. Fang grabbed Fan Jiangguo by the back of his collar and shouted, "Let's go for a walk, come with me to the car and have a pipe of cigarettes. I'm old at carrying them, long words, I'll take them up first." Fan Jiangguo cursed, and Mr. Fang let him go and went back to the car alone. Fan Jiangguo led Mr. Qin, Mr. Huang, and Song Chunming upstairs. "Thank you, Jackie, for your monthly ticket to learn to sing. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening, everyone." The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 987. Fan Jiangguo led Mr. Qin and the three of them up. Lu Ligan, Tan Shahen, and Lao Tan were already sitting in the conference room. Fan Jiangguo introduced them to each other and was about to leave. Tan Shahen said, "Mr. Fan, you should also sit down." Fan Jiangguo sat down. In the conference room, there were Lu Ligan, Tan Shahen, Lao Tan, and Fan Jiangguo on one side, and Mr. Qin, Mr. Huang, and Song Chunming on the other side. Before starting, Lu Ligan and Song Chunming said, "Mr. Song, Let's make it clear that you are indeed willing to take action on this project, right? Song Chunming nodded and said, yes, I do. What about price? Lu Ligan asked, what do you think about price? What do I think? Song Chunming looked at Mr. Qin and Mr. Huang, and said to Lu Ligan, my idea is to sort out all my debts so that I can live a peaceful life. I would be very grateful. Where are the other ideas? Lu Lipol nodded. Tan Shahen picked up the list written by Song Chunming and asked him, Mr. Song, are all your debts here? Yes, and there is also the interest owed to Mr. Qin and the others, Song Chunming said. Tan Shahen smiled, there is also interest from the bank. That's right, I didn't write down the bank's interest, Song Chunming said, the bank has owed money for 3 months. If there is no penalty interest, it would be more than 270,000. There will be no penalty interest. We have already communicated that the loan will be repaid and the interest will be compensated, Mr. Qin said from the side. Song Chunming said, that would be the best. Mr. Song, can you guarantee that you have no other debts, including no external guarantees? Tan Shahen asked. No more, there are no other debts, and I have never guaranteed anyone, Song Chunming said. Tan Shahen took out a copy of the company's Articles of Association and asked Song Chunming, Mr. Song, who is the other shareholder of your company, who owns 10% of the shares? My father-in-law, old man. If the company changes and his signature is required, will he sign? I just signed it, Song Chunming said. The original ones were all signed by me. His signature was inconsistent with the signature on file with the Industrial and Commercial Bureau. Of course, if he was required to sign, he would definitely sign it. As Song Chunming spoke, he asked Fan Jiangguo opposite for a pen and paper, signed a name, and gave it to Tan Shahen. Tan Shahen compared it with the shareholder's signature on the company's Articles of Association, and found that they were exactly the same. Mr. Song, are you and your lover divorced? Lao Tan asked. No, no, how could we get divorced? Song Chunming said. That's good, Lao Tan nodded, many couples will go their separate ways when disaster strikes. I ask this without any other intention. There is no divorce. When your father-in-law's signature is needed, I think he will cooperate. Yes, there is no problem with this, Song Chunming nodded repeatedly. The reason why Tan Shahen and others asked in such detail about the business license is because from any perspective, directly changing the company's shareholders and legal persons is the fastest, most convenient, and easiest way. Song Chunming's wishes and intentions were clear. The next step was to talk about things at Zhonghui Company. Mr. Huang saw that Lu Ligan was hesitant. He proposed part of the debt. From a legal perspective, it was not debts belonging to the company can be divested. Fan Jiangguo winked at him desperately, but it was too late. Whose money? Money lent to him by several directors, money lent to him by relatives, Lu Ligan asked. Of course we can escape from this money, but in this way, Mr. Song wants to live in peace. If you think about it, you can't do it. Don't forget, we are having a tripartite talk today, not just two of us. A tripartite talk must satisfy the three parties. Okay, I respect Mr. Liu's idea, Mr. Huang said. Since Mr. Liu is so generous, I will also be a good person and help Mr. Song settle all the debts at once. I will hold a creditors meeting and then settle all the debts to repay, all EIS and EIS will be taken back, and even if there are no notes at all, he will be asked to sign and complete the matter. Lu Ligan nodded and said, I thank you on behalf of Mr. Song. What else did Tan Shahen want to say about the price? Lu Lipol waved his hand and said, that's the price, all the debts, plus an additional 2 million for your assistance. I accept it, but I have a request. Lu Ligan looked at Mr. Qin and Mr. Huang and said, Mr. Qin raised his hand, Mr. Liu, please speak. Our payments must be paid in batches. We deal with the bank first and then other debts. We pay your payments last. If the front is processed quickly, we will pay it quickly. If it is processed slowly, our subsequent payments will be slow. Lu Ligan said. Okay, Mr. Qin nodded, just give us 2 days. Mr. Huang also said, it can be done simultaneously. The Agricultural Bank of China and other debts can be dealt with tomorrow, and the construction company can be notified to leave the site at the same time. It can be completed the day after tomorrow. Okay, I believe in your efficiency, then I have no problem here. Lu Ligan turned to Fan Jiangguo and said to him, Mr. Fan, please follow up with them to handle this matter, and you can pay according to the progress. Fan Jiangguo said yes. Mr. Qin, I have another request, Tan Shuhen said. Mr. Tan, tell me, Mr. Qin said. Where are the official seal and legal person seal of Song Corporation? Tan Shuhen asked. Mr. Huang said, we have it here, Mr. Tan, don't worry, it's well taken care of. Tan Shuhen said, because these 2 seals have left Song Corporation, I ask you to write a guarantee that you have not used these seals. Your company and you personally are willing to bear full responsibility for this. When Tan Shuhen said this, Lu Ligan and Lao Tan also thought about it. It was Tan Shuhen who was careful. This was too important. Otherwise, what if Zhonghui Company took these 2 chapters and wrote a lot of EIS or guarantees? And so on, it all becomes an incomprehensible debt. After the company changes, it will be troublesome. Mr. Qin and Mr. Huang looked at each other and smiled. Mr. Qin said, Mr. Tan's consideration is right, and we understand it very well. This way, it guarantees that we can write to you now. After both parties reached an agreement, Fan Jiangguo notified all creditors that he would have a meeting at Hangcheng Sentai Real Estate Co., Limited at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, bringing EIS and EIS. Mr. Qin, Mr. Huang, Tan Shuhen, and Lao Tan were drafting an agreement. Lu Ligan called Song Chunming to his office and asked him, what are you going to do now that the matters here have been dealt with? Song Chunming smiled bitterly and shook his head, saying, I don't know. Our director told me a few months ago to find a way to get me to go back. In the past few months, my old colleagues and I have said some harsh words to each other, and everyone's face was a little torn. If you ask me to go back, I don't have the face to go back. I can't go back to my work, and the company is gone. I really haven't thought about what I want to do in the future. Maybe I'll just find a job. If you don't mind, Mr. Song, how about coming to my place? Lu Ligan said, your director recommended you to me. Have you spoken to our director on the phone? Song Chunming asked curiously. Yes, just before you came here, your director said that you are a very good person, but maybe because you are too good, you are not suitable for running your own company. He suggested that I make good use of you. Lu Ligan asked, how about it? Mr. Song, are you willing to come to our place? Yes, thank you Mr. Lu for taking me in, Song Chunming said quickly. Lu Ligan smiled and said, I'm not taking you in. You are a talent. I invited you here. After the 3 parties signed the agreement, Mr. Qin called the president of the bank. When talking on the phone, he pressed speakerphone. The president confirmed on the phone that as long as Song Chunming paid back the 10 million loan and interest arrears, it would be fine. Yes, there will be no interest penalty. Lu Ligan said yes, then I will transfer the money now. The president said yes, if this is the case, we will release him tomorrow. Lu Ligan asked the finance department to transfer the money, and asked the finance department to contact his bank. He needed more than 6 million in cash tomorrow. He told Mr. Huang and Fan Jiangguo that you should bring a few more people to pick it up, and the cash would be paid directly on site. Issued so that the debt will be easier to deal with. Mr. Huang nodded and said yes. Mr. Lu was thoughtful. Mr. Qin, Mr. Huang, and Song Chunming left and got in the car. Mr. Huang and Song Chunming said, Mr. Song, I would like you to work harder and spend one more night in that hotel. When I finish all your debts tomorrow, you can do it again, show up, otherwise, there will definitely still be many people looking for you today. Song Chunming said, okay, thank you very much. Without you, this matter really couldn't be solved. Mr. Chin smiled and said, Mr. Song, we are not doing it for you. We did this for ourselves and safely got back our principal and interest. We also made 2 million. We did this for ourselves. Be subjective for yourself, be objective for Mr. Song. Mr. Huang said, by the way, Mr. Song, what did Lu Ligan say when he called you over earlier? He asked me to work in their company, Song Chunming said. That's good. This is really a good way out, Mr. Huang said. Lu Ligan also told Tan Shahen and others about his invitation to Song Chunming to work in their company. Tan Shahen smiled and said, Mr. Song even sold one and got one free. He sold the company and gave himself as a gift. He didn't give it to him, it was recommended to me by his former director, Lu Ligan said. What, you also went to get to know him privately? Tan Shahen asked curiously. Of course, do you think I'm stupid? Lu Ligan smiled and said, their director told me that you can 100% believe whatever Song Chunming says. Only then did I feel relieved that he had no hidden debts. Their director also knew, Song Chunming couldn't go back, so he recommended him to me, and I agreed. What are you going to do for him? Lao Tan asked. I want him to be in charge of the City in the Sky project. That project requires dealing with many departments. Song Chunming is good at it, and he himself has been involved in real estate. There is no one more suitable than him. Lu Ligan said that both Tan Shahen and Lao Tan nodded, thinking that this arrangement was very good. After meeting Song Chunming once, they also had a good impression of him. Plus Lao Tan, looking at him, they felt that they had the same problem. Only then would he ask if he was divorced. Lu Ligan looked at Tan Shahen and said, next, there is something else that needs to be done immediately. What's up? Find the 6 customers who bought houses and refund them their house payments plus interest. Check out payment. Tan Shahen and Lao Tan were both surprised. Tan Shahen asked, what do you mean? Lu Ligan smiled and said, don't you think it's a pity that only more than 38,000 square meters were built in that place? Tan Shahen's eyes lit up, what do you mean? Lu Ligan nodded, that's right, start over, redesign, resubmit for approval, and become a high-level executive. But in this way, the early project money will be wasted, Lao Tan said. Compared with the extra 100,000 square meters, this little money is nothing. You probably haven't been to that place to see it. I have been there twice. From that place, you can see the West Lake from the 10th floor up. If you don't do it, senior management, what a shame. Tan Shahen and Lao Tan both nodded. If it is changed to a high-rise building, the area can be built with more than 150,000 square meters. In this way, the project will not be small. Okay, why didn't I think of it? Tan Shahen shouted, in this way, the profits of this project will be considerable. Thank you to the 10,000 Years White Ticket Party, Dal Tin Soldiers, and Daily Pages for the rewards. Thank you for your monthly votes from Exercise, Kiji, Sunshine, Sinful Orchid Finger, and Book Friends 201901042017583118. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 988. Fan Jiangguo and Mr. Huang, as well as the finance staff of their Jingxia company, went to the bank early in the morning and withdrew a woven bag of money. It was really a woven bag. Fan Jiangguo woke up in the morning and couldn't find a suitable bag, so he bought a woven bag with red and white vertical stripes and a zipper at the grocery store in front of his home. This kind of bag is ugly, but it is ugly. It's strong enough that many working people use it to carry their luggage. Fan Jiangguo thought it would be appropriate to use them to store money. Withdrawing so much cash alarmed the director of the branch. He called 2 security guards to help maintain order outside the counter. Those waiting to withdraw money and deposit money had never seen so much cash before, and they all gathered around to watch the excitement. Everyone laughed when they saw Fan Jiangguo taking out such a bag, and Mr. Huang also cursed. Seeing, you are too ungrateful. On the back of the watch, it's as good as it can be, pretty good. If it's thrown on the side of the road, no one will pick it up, Fan Jiangguo said. From the inside of the counter, bundles of hundreds of thousands were taken out. Outside, they were put in bundles one by one through Fan Jiangguo's hands first, and then through the treasurer's hands. A woven bag of 100 yuan bills was put in it, and the zipper. After pulling it up, the finance department took out a plastic bag and filled it with half a bag of coins. After both bags were filled with money, Mr. Huang asked someone to carry the woven bag out and put it into the back seat of Fan Jiangguo's car. Fan Jiangguo drove the car, with the finance manager sitting in the passenger seat. Their car drove in front. Mr. Huang and several of his men were following them in the van behind. After carrying all the money upstairs, there were already several debtors waiting at the door of Hangcheng Sentai Real Estate Co. Limited. Mr. Huang asked 2 people to guard the door and told them not to let him in if he was not a debtor later. They entered the office and carried all the money into the financial room. Fan Jiangguo, the financial officer of his company, sat in the seat of the original financial officer. The original financial officer of Sentai Company sat beside him to help with the review. Fan Jiangguo said to the financial officer, "Okay Qian, the company is just changing bosses and locations, but your job will still be retained." Mr. Song said that your work performance is very good. Fan Jiangguo's company's finance staff told the finance staff here that our company's remuneration is very good and will definitely be better than yours. Finance said okay, thank you. Mr. Fan, said Fan Jiangguo and his company's finance manager. Thank you, Mr. Fan, finance said. Mr. Huang told them that it is still early, so you can prepare first. We will have a meeting first, and after the meeting, we will put them in one by one and distribute them. He handed a form to the finance department and told them that when someone comes in, they should check it against this list. They will not be paid according to this amount, but at 80%. 80%. The finance manager was puzzled and looked at Fan Jiangguo. Fan Jiangguo didn't know what was going on. Mr. Huang smiled and said, "You're right, yes Xian. Mr. Song, won't he be your colleague from now on? I promise to let him with all the face back, no one outside will buy this shameless person. Also, today we are not repaying debts, but acquiring debts. We don't owe them any money, so why should we pay them back?" Fan Jiangguo was confused, but he knew that Mr. Huang had many clever ideas, so he listened to him. Mr. Huang and Fan Jiangguo walked out of the finance room and closed the door. They also sent 2 people to guard the door and told them that no one should be let in without my order. At 10 o'clock, all the creditors arrived. Mr. Huang clapped his hands and shouted, "Okay, everyone, please be quiet and listen to me." Everyone fell silent, and Mr. Huang said, "Everyone has seen the situation in the past few days here. Song Chunming will definitely not be able to survive, and this company will definitely not be able to survive. The bank is ready to sue. Once the lawsuit is filed, the place will be sealed up, and then, I don't know when everyone will get their money or how much they will get. Song Chunming has been running around for the past 2 days, asking friends for help. He does not want to save the company. He also knows that the company cannot be saved. What he wants to save is everyone's debts. Everyone also knows that as soon as something goes into the court, it must be sold at a low price. After the sale, the priority has to be given. The bank will get it first, the construction company will get it first, and the workers' wages will get it first. These debts of yours are all general debts and have no priority. What do you mean, the people in front of you are divided? If there is anything left, you share a little. If there is nothing left, it is gone. This matter is over. You can't find Song Chunming because he has already gone through the legal process. I think many of you know this better than me. Especially for many people, your money was lent to Song Chunming personally and has nothing to do with the company. If the court distributes it, you will not even be qualified to participate in the distribution. Lending to Song Chunming doesn't mean lending to their company, someone shouted. Mr. Huang smiled and said, "This is really different. If you lend to the company, it must be stamped by the company, or you have to deposit it into the company account. Without one of these two items, it can only be regarded as a personal loan and has nothing to do with the company. This, I really am not lying to you. If you don't believe me, you can ask." That's what he said, yes, someone said with understanding. Then I'll ask Song Chunming to stamp it again, the man continued to shout. Do you think Song Chunming still has the right to stamp it now? Mr. Huang sneered, someone wants to buy Mr. Song's company, and the official seal has long been in someone else's hands. Originally, this matter ended the day before yesterday. They only recognize the company's debts, not all of you. Mr. Song, we have been fighting for the past 2 days, and now they have agreed to purchase all the debt at 80%. What do you mean? Someone asked. It means that Song Chunming owes you 100 yuan, which is calculated as 80 yuan. They will collect this debt, Mr. Huang said. At this moment, the crowd exploded. One said, how can that work? Why did you lose 20%? The other said, I asked Song Chunming to ask for it, and the interest was not calculated. Why is the principal still less? Others say, no, I won't do anything. Everyone was chattering, and Mr. Huang simply sat on the table and watched them silently. When they said it was done, he asked, have you all finished speaking? After I finish speaking, let me say a few words. First, do you think Song Chunming is the kind of person who doesn't pay you back if he has money? Do you think Song Chunming still has money to pay you back, and you still want to get your money? Okay, you go out now and you go find Song Chunming, but after you go out, it has nothing to do with you here. If you go downstairs and think about regrets and come back, I tell you, there is no way. There were still people in the crowd muttering, but no one walked out. Mr. Huang continued. Secondly, people could have refused to accept this money. Now they accept 80% of it, which is also the result of Song Chunming's hard work. If you don't accept it, you will not only let down Song Chunming's hard work, but also save money for his company. People laugh to death about money, so don't force it, you can think about it yourself. What we have is not a loan, it is the payment owed to us, someone shouted. Same, it's also 80%, Mr. Huang said. Why don't you go to court to sue for the 20%, and then wait for the court to make a ruling before executing it? Think about it, who bothered? If you agree to 80%, when can you get the money? The man shouted. If you agree, you can go to the finance office to collect the money now, Mr. Huang said. Calculate, I'm so busy. Who spends here every day just for this little money? The man turned around and walked towards the finance room. He looked at several other suppliers and cursed, what are you waiting for? This shitty company is like this, today it still gets 80%, but in a few days, it might not even be a dime. Those suppliers thought about it right and followed him. Mr. Huang and Fan Jiangguo said, go to the finance office and watch them to see that they have completed all the procedures. Fan Jiangguo said yes and ran to the finance room. Xiang looked at his colleagues and said to them, let's forget it. Chunming is having a hard time now, so just treat the 20% as a gift from us to help him. Immediately, many people said yes, and a few hesitated. Seeing that everyone else agreed, They also agreed, and they also walked to the finance room. Most of the people left, and the remaining people looked at each other, shook their heads with a wry smile, got up without saying a word, and walked towards the finance room. It was 11:30 and everyone took the money and left. Mr. Huang walked into the finance room and asked Fan Jiangguo if all the procedures were completed. Fan Jiangguo said that everyone who had come to register had been taken away and the procedures were completed, and "Are those old leaders and close relatives?" Mr. Huang asked. Fan Jiangguo nodded. "It's okay, let Song Chunming handle this by himself." After Mr. Huang finished speaking, he picked up the mobile phone, dialed a few numbers, and then said to the phone, "Send Mr. Song to his company." There was a head who poked his head in from outside the door. When he saw Mr. Huang, he nodded and smiled. Mr. Huang waved to him and said, come in, your acting is good." Fan Jiangguo recognized that this was the supplier who was originally called Swan Swan. Mr. Huang turned around and told the finance manager to give him 20% of his money. Fan Jiangguo burst out laughing, and then he realized that this guy and Mr. Huang were on good terms. Mr. Huang glanced at Fan Jiangguo and said to him, "Why are you laughing? I'm telling you, at times like this, someone has to tell you to calculate. As long as someone calls to calculate, others will follow." Fan Jiangguo laughed loudly, "Okay, I learned it." More than 20 minutes later, Dalin Xiaolin and Song Chunming arrived. Mr. Huang and Song Chunming said, "Mr. Song, your affairs have been solved and all your debts have been cleared. From today on, no one will ask you for debts again." Song Chunming quickly said, Thank you. For those who didn't come to register, you need to pay back the money yourself," Mr. Huang said. "Okay, don't bother Mr. Huang." Mr. Huang pointed to the woven bag on the table and said to Song Chunming, "The money is all here, it's all yours." Song Chunming opened the bag and looked at it. He was shocked and said, "Those people don't have that much money." Fan Jiangguo then told Song Chunming that all debts would be settled at 80%. Mr. Huang and Song Chunming said, "Those suppliers have made a lot of money from you before. I think forget it. They can get 80% of it and they will not lose money. Those personal loans, Mr. Song, you feel sorry for yourself?" Song Chunming said yes. Mr. Huang smiled and said, "This is the face I save for you." Song Chunming looked at him, not knowing what he was talking about. Mr. Huang said, "These people took 100% of the money back from here today. I guarantee that none of them will say anything good about you, Song Chunming. Your faces it's already torn. But if you, Song Chunming, give them the 20% again, I guarantee that they will all say good things to you. Although it was their money to begin with, this money now is an unexpected surprise to them. Hi, it's like someone dropped something today and unexpectedly found it tomorrow. I guarantee you, Song Chunming, that no one will fail to greet you with a smile when you go back to your previous workplace." Only then did Fan Jiangguo understand what Mr. Huang meant by helping Song Chunming regain face. Different methods of handling the same money would have different effects. Song Chunming also understood and quickly said, Thank you, Mr. Huang. Okay, your business is finished. I have to leave. Mr. Song, you are free too. You can take your son and have a meal at KFC in the evening, Mr. Huang said. Thank you for the tip from the third one from top to bottom, 131 on the shore. Thank you for your monthly pass to Bustling Farce. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 989. Song Chunming's Hangcheng Sentai Real Estate Co., Limited, After the shareholders and legal persons changed, the company address was also changed at the same time, to Hangcheng Spoke Factory. Together with Hangcheng Jingxiu Construction Co., Limited, it became an empty shell company. However, it is not completely empty. The next project must continue with Sentai Real Estate Co., Limited as the main body, otherwise everything will have to be changed and the procedures will be too complicated. However, the company name is still there, but in fact there is no one left. Lu Ligan assigned Song Chunming a car and driver and asked him to take charge of the City in the Sky project. Lu Ligan, the original office director, originally wanted to follow Fan Jiangguo's suggestion and fire him directly, but it was Song Chunming who interceded for him. Offering a bowl of rice, Lu Ligan kept him and asked him to be Song Chunming's assistant and do odd jobs with him. The finance department was transferred to the company. Lu Ligan and his company's finance department were responsible for the finances of so many projects and units. The manpower was originally very tight. After joining the company, Tan Shehen asked Song Chunming's original finance department to be responsible for Kunpeng Construction's business. Tan Shehen also learned from Zhang Chen's company and established a financial center to be responsible for the entire company's finances. Each company and project below sent only one cashier to be responsible for daily reimbursement work. When there were more people in the company, the original office felt crowded. Lao Tan asked Lao Wan and the others to hurry up with the construction of their own company office building in Peach Blossom Spring and try to move there before the Lunar New Year this year. Xiao Lu and the others went to Ying Ying's place to work in the sales office of the Mies Hai project. The remaining few people from Sentai Company were also involved in each of their projects. After the construction company withdrew from Mr. Song's original construction site, Lao Wan and others moved in and began to demolish the previously built parts. Lu Ligan has already left several departments. They have all agreed to the changes to this project. Now they are waiting for Jason and the others to come up with the design drawings and then reapply for approval and go through the process. Lu Ligan named this project Splendid West Lake. After Jason and his colleagues came out with the renderings and design drawings of Splendid West Lake, Song Chunming came back to see it and was dumbfounded. He said, "How could I didn't expect that this could be done. In this case, more than 150,000 recipes could be made here." After a while, he sighed again and said to Lu Ligan, "However, even thinking about it is actually useless. It is likely that the excavation of the earth has just started, and I won't be able to hold on. Your project only requires the initial investment. No matter how much you ask me to pay a design fee, I can't even afford it. It's good to have ideas, but you still have to be strong." Fan Jiangguo joked from the side, "Mr. Song, do you have any regrets?" No. Song Chunming shook his head, "What's the use of regrets? If you can't hold on, you can't hold on. As you all know, I couldn't hold on for one more day in that situation, let alone such a big deal. After finishing one project, even if I peeled off 3 layers of my skin, I still wouldn't be able to do it. I'm just fine as I am now. My wife says I've gained weight and am more like a boss than before." Everyone laughed. The 6 guests who had already bought the house were found. The 2 who were lured to buy the house by the mahjong face were very tight. As soon as they heard that they could check out, they quickly checked out. There were 4 others who were originally looking at this. The projects have all come to a halt, and I am worried that I will not be able to check out. Now that I heard that Splendid Land has taken over this place, I immediately refused to check out. Tan Shehen and Ying Ying said that they would sign a replacement agreement with them and let them choose the floor and room type when the place opens. The original house was 65 square meters. Our new house will definitely not have such a small area, but the unit price will definitely be more expensive than now. We will exchange it with them for 65 square meters, and there will be extra area. When they make up the house payment, we will give them a 20% discount on this part of the house payment." Ying Ying told them what Tan Shehen meant, and they all agreed to implement this plan. All the finishing work of Hangcheng Sentai Real Estate Co., Limited has been completed. After a period of chaos, everything gradually became calm again. After having this project, Tan Shahan settled down and felt that this project could just catch up with the lean days before the second phase of their Peach Blossom Land, Hangzhou Center, and Sky City opened. Next year, the company will mainly rely on the splendid West Lake. I hope that the situation will be better next year, or Mr. Chiao and the others will have funds to make a mortgage on the splendid West Lake. Lu Ligan has already communicated with Mr. Chiao about the splendid West Lake project, and Mr. Chiao also said that once he obtains new funds, he can do this project. At the same time, after discussion, Tan Shahan and Lu Ligan decided that of the 3 office buildings next to the center of Hangzhou, one would be for the Post and Telecommunications Bureau, and the other 2 would be opened for sale first, even if they were just to test the water temperature. Because from their company's perspective, this is their only office building project, and the reputation of splendid Jiangnan has now been established in Hangzhou. Some customers want to buy their office buildings, but they can no longer do so. Lu Ligan came out of the planning bureau and was about to return to the company when his big brother rang. He picked up. It was Lao Ni. Lao Ni came to him and asked him to help him find a way to transfer another 100 million to their bank in Hong Kong account. Lu Ligan was startled and shouted, "Old Ni, are you so miserable during this financial crisis? I remember a few months ago, didn't you say you still had 70 million left, and now you've lost all?" No, Lao Ni lowered his voice, but couldn't hold back his laughter. "I made a profit, and earned more than 300 million. Now there are more than 400 million in the account in Hong Kong." "No way, Lao Ni," Lu Ligan shouted, "you are really making the country suffer. No, you are making money that is difficult for Asia. I must despise you on behalf of the Asian people. Okay, now that you're done showing off, help me transfer the money." Lao Ni continued to smile. "No, Lao Ni, you already have 400 million in it, what else can you transfer?" Lu Ligan asked. "Isn't it true that only this university can make a lot of money? I, an old man from the countryside, don't have as much cash as you. The only thing I can mobilize is this 100 million. If I had it, I would make 1 billion. I can see it now. This is the path I want to take. I don't even do any real estate. By the way, there are 2 pieces of land in Shaoxing. Do you want it? You want me to help you build a bridge? No, there are so many unfinished projects in Hangzhou that I can't even finish them all. Who would go to Shaoxing? I'm not addicted to stinky tofu and prunes. By the way, Lao Ni, are you in the office?" Lu Ligan asked. "Yes. Then I'll come here and you wait. I'll buy incense and candles first, and then I'll pay my respects to you, the god of wealth." Lu Ligan shouted, and Lao Ni laughed. Lu Ligan arrived at Lao Ni's office, sat down, and asked Lao Ni to honestly explain how he got this windfall. Lao Ni did not hold back, and told Lu Ligan what Ren Rongrong, Chen Yakan, and the others had done. Lu Ligan sighed. "Old Ni, you 2 are really golden phoenixes. They have made so much money in just a few months. Are they reincarnations of money printing machines?" Lao Ni laughed and said, "They kept it secret from me and waited until all positions were closed before telling me. I was also shocked. However, it was also good luck. I encountered such a big crisis when I first opened an account. I didn't expect that when others were suffering, I got a big advantage. This world is really unfair, Lao Ni, look at how many people we need to participate in building a house, but we still can't make so much money," Lu Ligan said. "You also want to say, I originally saw that your real estate developers are all heavenly beings. In our factory, it is hard work. We have been busy for a year. If we cannot lose money, we will laugh. What money do we make? In the real estate project in Shaoxing, I thought the money was so lucrative that I wanted to rob it, said Lao Ni. Lu Ligan said, then you are lucky not to continue doing it. If you continue to do it, you will suffer. How many real estate companies in Hangzhou now have either arrived at Longzhou, Hangcheng Funeral Home, or are going to Longzhou on the way to dock? Aren't you still fine? I just started it early, have some financial resources, and can withstand the hardships. Otherwise, I didn't see that Hangcheng Center has been stopped for a while, and most of the projects in Meisi River have been stopped. Okay, Xiao Lu, don't complain. I'll buy you 2 houses in Meisi to support you, okay, Lao Ni said with a smile. Sure, Lu Ligan shouted, but why do you, Lao Ni, want a house? A golden house hides your beauty. I can't even climb anymore. It's a treasure hidden in the golden house. I bought it and gave it as a prize to those 2 girls. They make money for me, Lao Ni, day and night. I always want to make sure they don't have to worry about anything. Yes, you, the boss, are worthy of others working for you, but Lao Ni, don't rely on your old age and pretend to be old. I see that you are getting younger and younger now. Let alone letting you climb up and down, I just want you to regenerate. You can still have a few sons. Lao Ni chuckled, aren't you happy? Tell me who they went to find. Tomorrow and Sunday, I will let them choose a house by themselves. Just ask Yang Yang, Lu Ligan said, took the note on Lao Ni's desk, and wrote Yang Yang's name and big brother number. Lao Ni took the note and walked out. Lu Ligan knew that he was giving it to the 2 women from the financial business department. Lu Ligan sat and waited for a while, but Lao Ni hadn't come back yet, and he couldn't go there rashly. He knew that last time Lao Ni took him there, it was an exception. Lu Ligan simply called MSCAI in Mr. Ni's office and asked her to help transfer money. MSCAI said that it was no problem. Just do it the same as last time. By the way, this time the 100 million is enough. I called Mr. Chiao and asked him to increase the mortgage loan quota by another 100 million for the Meisi project. I heard that the quota there was about to be used up. Lu Ligan said yes, thank you Miss CAI. Miss CAI smiled and said, thank you for what? Have you forgotten that I am making money for my family? When Lao Ni came back, Lu Ligan had just finished his phone call with Mr. Chiao and asked for the account number that Mr. Chiao had used to make his account. He gave the account number to Lao Ni and told him that he would stop calling here this time. Lao Ni said yes. Thank you Yuya and Pai Wuzun for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a nice late night everyone. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 990. Seeing that the end of the year was coming, Zhang Chen felt very irritable, thinking that this year would pass quickly. Starting from the second half of the year, not only their stores in Hangzhou, Shanghai, and Beijing, but also the franchise stores at the county level below, like in Xiangshan, the sales of a county-level store used to be equivalent to the sales of a prefecture-level city elsewhere, but it is said that it will not be able to sustain this year. I can't stand it anymore, these are the 3 words that almost every store will say when calling Zhang Chen. A few stores are even considering whether to change careers, but looking at other industries, it seems that life is not getting better. Almost no one is spared from the depression in all industries. Zhang Chen knew in his heart that this was almost an industry-wide phenomenon. It wasn't that there was something wrong with their products, but even so, he still felt irritated. The entire clothing industry is having a hard time this year, because the sales of their counters in shopping malls in Shanghai and Beijing have dropped by 30 to 40%. But the problem is that their ranking in most shopping malls is still among the top 3. By comparison, it's pretty good. If it weren't for the downturn in the entire industry, this situation wouldn't have happened. In the economic downturn, clothing is a barometer. Zhang Chen now understands why clothing, food, housing, and transportation should come first. If you don't have enough clothes to cover your body, you will probably eat tastelessly and you won't be able to dress decently. You won't even be in the mood to go out. No, I have no desire to sit down and have a good meal. I just huddle in any corner and kill myself with a bowl of noodles. If sales don't go up, the old problem with inventory comes out. After all, there are so many stores to sell goods and the exchange rate is so high. When business is good, almost every store's exchange rate is not enough, and they don't want to be porters. The remaining one or two pieces of a style will make money anyway. These one or two pieces are very cheap. Disposed of. When the business is not good, the products will not move, so they can only exchange them, and they will not move. In the end, they have to return to the factory. Every store not only uses up the exchange rate, but also complains that it is not enough. Balabala brand and Balabala brand are already 100% exchangeable. Moreover, when sales are good, your base is large, and the proportion of inventory is relatively small. When sales are not good, basically every style is produced, and more than 1/3 of it will be returned in the end. Inventory is constantly increasing, but there are more and more styles. There is no way, they almost rely on constantly releasing new models to maintain this pitiful sales. The same is true in the store below. There are fewer and fewer customers coming to buy clothes. Those who often come to the store only rely on those few old customers. In every place, no matter how bad the economy is, there will always be some rich people. A woman who also likes to buy clothes. But clothes are not like apples. If you eat one today, you can eat another tomorrow. No matter how much she likes the clothes, she will only buy them once, or even look at them once. Every time she goes to the store, she will ask, "Are there any new models?" The only way to maintain sales in the store and retain and attract these old customers is to continuously introduce new products. Continuously launching new models is almost a requirement of all specialty stores. Zhongchen and others have to meet their needs. Ji Ling and others are under great pressure in the design center. Everyone knows very well that no one can design and produce all hot-selling models. Hot-selling models and slow-selling models also exist in a certain proportion. The more new models there are, the more slow-selling models will definitely follow, and the new models will also be on the rise. After ordering the goods once, they will not replenish the goods, and the unsaleable money will be returned and become inventory. There are more new styles, and the cost of clothing also increases, because your fabrics and accessories are all new, and it is impossible to match all the quantities just right, and there will definitely be waste of one kind or another. In addition, workers are not familiar with the styles, and the output cannot increase. If the output cannot increase, your wages will relatively increase. Otherwise, the workers' income will decrease, which will directly affect their enthusiasm. All of these have caused their production costs to increase a lot. The most annoying thing is that the more styles there are, the inventory will definitely increase significantly. This is a vicious cycle. The sales of clothing are not increasing, and even their private custom-made customers, Zhongchen, feel that their purchases have dropped significantly. When Shentu Hanjian came to Zhongchen's place, they talked about this. Shentu Hanjian and Zhongchen said, "It's like this. It's not that I have no money, but I don't dare to spend it. I thought that money comes easily. Spend it and make money again, but it's different now. You know it's not that easy to make money, and you don't know what will happen next year and the year after that, so even if you have money, you don't dare to spend it." Zhongchen understands this mentality very well. Shentu Hanjian and Zhongchen said, "Like me, it's pretty good because my customers are mainly in China and the Middle East. People in the Middle East are not affected much. They still have money and are still shipping normally. Those factories in Southeast Asia are indescribably miserable, not to mention the workers, but also the customers. There are thousands of Koreans in Uwoo. Do you know what their lives are like? I rented a hotel and went to rent a house. A dozen people lived in a house and ate noodles every day. They were not even instant noodles. I couldn't even afford instant noodles. They were the kind of dried noodles that I bought in tubes and cooked. Okay, let's get some soy sauce and some salt to eat like this. They have no choice. They used to deliver goods to China every day, but now they have no goods. How do they make money? For small commodities like ours in Uwoo, the profit margin is very thin. If we don't have the goods, we have to rest on our laurels. I don't dare to go back to my country. There is no way to survive and I can't find a job. Korea is different from ours. They don't have any small businesses, they are all big companies. Big companies are already difficult to enter. Now, it's even more difficult to enter. If you don't go, wouldn't there be many big companies that have simply closed down? Mr. Jong, let me tell you, I invited 3 Korean friends to dinner that day, and what was the result? I almost burst into tears after eating. Every dish was eaten, and I wanted to eat all the dishes. This is it. Look, you say it's pitiful or not, but thousands of Koreans, or foreigners, live like this in Uwoo. On this day, Shen Tu Hanjian and Zhang Chen talked about dressing up, but they didn't talk about these things as much. Listening to these words made Zhang Chen even more irritated, and at the same time he loved hearing them. He felt that he was not the only one who was unlucky now, but that everyone was having a hard time. Everyone was sad. This man's heart seemed to be a little more balanced. Zhang Chen himself didn't know why he had such ridiculous thoughts. Is it human instinct? People just don't see good things in others, and wish everyone was more unlucky than themselves. Times are tough for clothing, and private customization is not satisfactory. Fortunately for Zhang Chen, there is also a dynamic zone. The rent in this area is guaranteed to be income during droughts and floods, but the impact is still huge. The biggest one is that the income from parking lots and catering has plummeted. Originally, these two pieces were more than enough to sustain not only the expenses of their market itself, but also the expenses of their entire company. Now we can only make a slight surplus in addition to maintaining our own expenses. The sales of every store are declining. There are fewer incoming and outgoing goods, and the parking lot income is naturally low. In the market, not only are there fewer customers, but there are also fewer salespeople. The store that used to have 3 or 4 people is now guarded by 1 person. Well, if there are fewer people will go to the canteen to eat. It is normal for the income from catering to decline. Life can still be lived, but as Shentu Hanjian said, expectations for the future have decreased. When a person has no hope for the future, he will of course be dissatisfied with the present and have an impetuous heart. Zhang Chen is just looking forward to this. The shitty year of 1997 can be over as soon as possible. But these days are real. You can't keep the happy days even if you want to, and you can't hide the difficult days even if you want to. You can only live by them day by day, second by second, minute by minute. It won't be shorter or longer. Every day has to be endured even if it is hard. Lu Ligan called Zhang Chen and told him that he would have dinner together in the evening and that he must come. Why are you so serious about your engagement to Tan Shahen? Zhang Chen asked. Shit, I still only smelled the fishy smell and didn't even touch my claws, Lu Ligan said. I met Chu Tianlin in front of me. She said that we haven't had dinner together for a long time. We got together in the evening. I have already called Wei Venfang. Called. Aren't you afraid of eating a bitter meal? Don't be afraid, you have to have fun even in the midst of suffering, Lu Ligan laughed. Dinner was still in the big box in Tianxiang building. The meal was just as Zhang Chen expected. It was a meal to remember the hardships. Everyone complained about how hard life was. Wei Venfang said that the decline in business was not included. The price has also come down, it's only 50 cents, and customers have to worry about it. Of course, Zhang Chen said, when times are good, who cares about your express delivery fee? When times are bad, 50 cents is also a cost. It's the same for us. Now there are more machines in the country, and the prices are also a mess, and all the old customers have been driven away, Chu Tianlin said with a smile. All the old customers have left, and you're still so happy, Lao Tan was surprised. I'm happy. After the old customers leave, there will be new customers. If the customer I'm negotiating with now is successful, we will move the factory to Hangzhou, Chu Tianlin said. What kind of customer is so awesome? Lu Ligan asked. Hangcheng Cigarette Factory, Chu Tianlin said, print cigarette labels for them. As soon as Chu Tianlin said it, everyone knew that this customer was really awesome. Look at us all, life is so difficult. This cigarette factory's business is very good this year, Chu Tianlin said with a smile. Of course, Lu Bang, the emperor of the Han dynasty, said, there are so many people smoking cigarettes. They smoke cigarettes so hard. After one sip, most of the cigarettes are gone. I feel like my addiction to cigarettes has become stronger. Yes, yes, the emperor is right. The emperor is so troubled. How can we ordinary people not smoke cigarettes? By the way, Sister Tianlin, you must find a way to win this. This is a gold mine, Lu Ligan said. Yes, Sister Tianlin, do you need our help? Zhang Chen asked. Chu Tianlin waved her hand and said, you don't need it now. I will tell you if you need it. Thank you to book friends 201906061314333385, Dal Tin Soldier, and reading books every day for your rewards. Thank you Yuengzi, Bai, and book friends 201901042017583118 for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health.